On est live.
Live. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the Oneka Farm today. My name is Stacey, co-founder.
And Philippe, co-founder. We are also husband and wife. We're a couple. And we have two little daughters that are not here right now, but so we co-founded the company 12 years ago. The reason why we're starting here is that this is where the physical visit would usually start. And we want to start off by saying thank you for being here with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a challenge for us not to host the annual event where people come and visit. And we're grateful that you're there. It's been a very intense time for everybody. We are very privileged and grateful to live in the country, live on the farm, and have been busy with Oneca. But we hope that everybody is doing well and you know, keeping safe and happy.
And happy.
Also.
Yeah. So we don't have much time, so let's get going. Voila, let's go.
So today it's an overview of the farm. It's an overview of from the perspective of the two founders that are mostly passionate and visionary, but we are surrounded by experts who are not here with us today. So it will be an overview rather than a really in-depth of each thing. There's room for questions, of course, but we're trying to give you our perspective of the farm, and we're going to keep it very focused on the plants here and what we do.
Right. So this is our small lavender patch for the moment to see how it enjoys being here at the altitude that we are, and so we just did a harvest of the flowers, so that's why there's not many left. But this is the beautiful, vibrant purple-violet color of the lavender. Okay.
We are a producing farm, but we're also an R&D farm, so we're trying out a lot of different plants, see how they grow, and we're lazy farmers in that we do not believe in really having to care too much for plants. If they don't want to take care of themselves, then we're like, okay, why are we spending so much energy? And so we're owning the fact that we're lazy farmers. So lavender is definitely a harder plant to grow to really yield the quantities that we need. So we currently buy 100% of our lavender essential oil, and so we're switching plants. We're going to the dandelions. Stacey's going to pull a root. What's funny about dandelion is that we actually grow it. We seed it and grow it. Unlike most people, we love dandelion. And say most people, a lot of people like it, but a lot of people don't like it because it's like a weed. And the reason why we grow it is because if we go in the wild like we did in the early years, it's very hard to harvest. And the carrots, the roots are actually quite small.
Right.
So
this one I broke the tip off, but this is a lovely big dandelion root that when we do harvest towards the end of August, first part of
October,
excuse me. October, we will, this is a long row, we'll take the whole row, we'll clean off the roots, we'll chop them up, and then we'll put them on the dryer, and once they're dry, we'll store them and use them in our macerations.
shall we move?
Shall we move?
Cool. So we have about you can see from the road to the right of me, there's about 150 feet of more or less 3-4 feet deep. That is enough for a year's worth for us. We take the roots, like Stacey said, we cut them up and then macerate them to make pictures. Remind me what this plant is, Mana. What do you call that?
That's the manal. It's a violet manal. The red.
What's Mana in English?
Manal. Bebop. Sorry, bebop. And so this one is. We had a really hard rainfall a couple weeks ago, so it knocked a lot of the flowers off. But this one is. There's some mildew, so we're trying to figure out what we can do better for the manal. So at this time.
Bee balm is a plant that we do not use in our products currently, but we planted it to see see how it grows. Number one, because we had some ideas of potential products, and it's one of those that is part of our R&D portfolio that is there for also biodiversity. I think that's a big theme that you'll see here, is that there's a lot of stuff that we have for the purpose of biodiversity. Little row here of sage that was planted
This spring.
in the spring, so it's a new year for it. You want to show it the
So
texture?
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah, the beautiful texture, and I mean, the aroma is just amazing. Yeah, it's a very aromatic plant. So, and it loves it in the spot. And then we'll go over to its neighbor.
Sage is, I want to say, sage is one of the staple plants for us. We use it in almost every product, and it's used as a tincture, with the exception of the hand sanitizer that has essential oil of sage. We buy the essential oil though. We make the tincture, but we buy the essential oil.
So its neighbor is the Melis, lemon balm. This is also just planted freshly this year. It's growing really well, and this plant is in the mint family, and it's extremely aromatic as well. Wish you guys could smell it. No. Very beautiful. Okay, on continue. We continue. And this is Leia. She's getting very hot. Summertime is not her favorite month. She's a Canadian Eskimo.
So we're going to show you a bit of the apple trees that are on the property. The reason why it's significant or important is that this used to be an apple orchard. There's thousands of standard sized trees. The standard tree is a tree that really gets big, unlike semi-dwarf or dwarf trees. That's a Macintosh. Oh, sorry, that's a Macintosh variety, and I'm proud to show you the scab on it. These trees are non-sprayed, and in fact, the farm is certified organic. There's been a couple questions about, like, you know, what is certified, what isn't. The farm is certified organic, so every plant that grows here is certified organic. Our products are not, and I think that's important to clarify that. It's not that they're not certifiable, but we did not make the choice to certify our product. So you can't say that I have an organic shampoo. You have a shampoo that's made with organic plants, yes, but so a few trees that were kept from the original orchard. There's also 200 trees at the end of the property, which we won't see today. But we wanted to come up here and show you the perspective of the farm. It's the highest point. So if you guys want to get on the
I'll help you guys up the benches. Woo! There you go.
So to your left, you see a lake. I don't know how much detail you can see through the camera, but that's Lake Carmi in Vermont. The farm is bordering the U.S. So the edge of the property is the U.S. and that's about 5 kilometers away. And as you're passing, we usually see the Adirondacks in New York in the background. We don't see them today, it's not clear enough. And you can see the fields up front, wild fields, which consist the majority of the farm. And then to the right, we do not see it today, but usually we see Montreal, which is about 85 kilometers. Birds fly, is that the way you call it?
Yeah, the birds fly.
And you can maybe hear the insects a little bit, but we're going to get deeper into the wild fields in a few minutes. So that's a perspective of the farm. That's what you would see on the open houses. So we can walk. We see here on the right, that's a platform that we built about 3 years ago, and that's to put tents and, you know, host events. The only flat spot that's not inside. Everything else is a bit crooked, so it was fun to have a flat surface. And then, Stacey, do you want to tell us about the...
Well, what's circling the flat surface is Islam's wild rose. Flowers.
Speak towards the evening.
Oh, sorry. The flowers are on their way out, and the fruit is coming now. The fruit can be used in sauces and jams. As you see, it's right there. And here's what's left of some of the flowers. We're having a bit of a strong visit from the Japanese beetle. So we need to figure out a little bit how we're gonna handle their visits that are not welcomed. So the eglantier, let's get a little closer. The eglantiers, we have some more rows down by the Calendula. That's a plant that grows very easy in Quebec. Yeah.
And Stacey, do we have plans for it?
We have some ideas for it. It's in R&D right now. We're working on some possibilities in the R&D.
Next year we're looking to expand our flanks or the rows to fully wrap this flat surface. So we're entering the terrace area. This concept we got really inspired by La Clé des Champs in Val David. It's a herb farm and herb transformer in Quebec, certified organic. They've got a very steep terrain, so we visited their farm in 2010, I believe, and we got so inspired. So we got inspired to build terraces, and the stones also keep the heat, so it's good for sage, for instance.
Yeah.
This is our main row of sage. It's about 150 feet long. It's 3 years old, and we struggled with sage for 3 years until we figured out that we had to cover it in the winter. We were losing about half the plants, and so this sage right here is 3 years old and hasn't been picked yet, but we're going to get into a bit further where it has been picked.
Yeah.
We usually do 2. It's going to get picked tomorrow Monday, this part.
Okay, on this side we have chamomile. It's at its end. We're going to have to cut down the branches because it's finished. But this is a whole row of chamomile as well. And it's perennial.
Chamomile is R&D purposes, biodiversity, and I'd love to point out the bees that are flying in the echinacea. You guys want to get closer, but there's probably get closer to show, but we're extremely happy with that because we're designing the diversity of the farm on attracting and hosting and multiple plants and insects and animals. So when we see that, we're happy. And you're also seeing the mullein right here, which is it's just growing. It's not. It's just it's just growing, and so we love that. It's not a manicured garden as you would see at the botanical gardens in Montreal, but our gardener Francois knows that. Like we're de-weeding a lot, but we're not obsessed. And you'll have odd plants growing, but we believe that it's actually healthy to have some diversity, and we're not. Anyway, we're excited to have some nice healthy plants, but we're allowing echinacea growing in the chamomile. It's okay. What's up here, Stace?
This is yarrow.
What is that?
Yarrow is a wild field plant, flower, but we decided to host it here on a row, and it's also for R&D purposes as well as yarrow. But it also is great for biodiversity, brings a lot of butterflies, bees, so it grows well.
We have a little elderberry bush. We are looking at maybe planting quite a few, in fact, so we wanted to try it, see does it grow well? Well, it is growing well, and we're excited to try some stuff with it. So I know it's a bit of a teaser what we're saying right now about all these plants, that we may do something with it, but you're in the garden, so we have to say. So now we're gonna go and take a drive in the fields.
Having the open doors, open garden tours, but this year with the situation, it's been a little different. So this is us, in a way, getting to meet you guys and connect with you guys for this year. So thank you. So we're ready to go. Let's go on an adventure. Well, I'll help you ladies up.
Sorry about that.
And I got you. Oops. Okay. I don't know what view I was giving you guys. I'm very sorry. Okay.
So we're gonna drop this off.
Yeah. Hang on tight, girls.
Yep.
So what's cool about the wild fields is that we never seeded anything. It's the response to a post orchard. It was an orchard for the majority of 40 years, and so we consider that right now the land is healing itself and is rebuilding itself from a monoculture. And so you can see a diversity of plants. We've got milkweed right here.
Oh.
And it's growing on its own. So what we do is we actually every year we mow, but we mow after all the seeds have seeded and dropped. And so milkweed's here.
I'll show the inside. Milkweed, yeah.
We do not use milkweed, by the way.
The silkiness of it, the shine, the softness of it. Yeah. Okay, the next one.
Just got some goldenrod. So you can see. I think it's important to show on the left. Just look at the fields. All of the goldenrod that's growing, and the goldenrod is really a transition plant. We think it's there to heal and rebalance the soil and the ecosystem. But you can see we're in an area right now. There's tons of milkweed and goldenrod, and see the goldenrod here is it's coming up. It's a bit green, but in a few weeks it's just going to be very yellow. So in these fields we harvest, not here, but we harvest horsetail and nettle. Those are the two wild plants that we wild harvest. So we don't actually do anything. We just harvest them. And the majority of the farm is wild fields, and it's a bit odd for most people because they say, well, what do you grow? Why don't you grow something? And we feel like we're really inviting and encouraging biodiversity. It's part of our permaculture beliefs that biodiversity is a lot more resilient and strong than monoculture. And we may grow intentionally some stuff eventually, but for the moment we're letting these fields wild and we're harvesting what we need. We're entering right now the area where in May we picked horsetail, and there's about an acre and a half of horsetail that's wild. We cannot see it right now because it's overgrown by other plants.
But horsetail is one of the first plants that we see in the springtime, and that's our harvesting time. Is in May, late May, and then after that the vegetation is starting to catch up, and it's hard. And also the plant has the ideal time to harvest it in May, the end of May.
So we're really excited about these wild fields. Like you can tell, I mean, it's full of. I mean, we should probably pause for a moment just to hear and see the insects. And the birds. C'est quoi what do you call that? I don't know what it's called in English.
A dragonfly.
Dragonfly. So when we drive around and walk around and we hear the insects humming and the bees flying and the birds singing, we're always very excited. We feel like we're achieving our purpose of farm-wise to bring back diversity. See all the birds flying. It's really a rich habitat. So we're going to drive up now. We're going back to the barn, and we're going to drive by the apple tree nursery that's should be planted next summer. They're very rustic varieties, so they require no work, no attention. Cider apples, right? We want cider apples because the vinegar will come from the cider. And what else would you add?
We're going to be passing by the garden of Francois.
Francois is our gardener.
Yes.
So we didn't ask him for permission, but we're showing his garden. We'll go quick to keep his intimacy, but that's he grows some of his vegetables here. Francois is the gardener for Oneca. And this is the apple tree nursery right here. It's about 350 trees that we planted next summer. We did have struggles with the deer. 2 years ago, they came and ate every single one of them. We were able to regrow them. And here, it's the planks of burdock. And I know it's silly for most people to think that we're growing burdock, but for the same reasons as we grow dandelion, the roots, you're seeing the shoots popping up. We had a struggle this year. We started, c'est quoi un semis? Sprouts?
A baby plant.
We started plants in the greenhouse and they all died, so we had to just seed them. So we're a bit behind for burdock, but we grow it because it's a lot easier to harvest plants, burdock roots that are in soft soil rather than compacted, in lawn. I mean, this is burdock for those who.
The little picnics that.
You know the burrs? That's burdock. But when the plant is this big, it's not ideal for usage. So that's why we grow small little plants where the roots are very rich and gentle and soft. So we let it grow. It seeds itself. This is wild. But early on in the first years, we were harvesting burdock a bit here and there, but it was hard to find small plants and in a non-compacted soil. So that's why we grow it. So we're gonna go and harvest a bit of calendula. There's some roses as well. There's our Calendula patch. Oh, my hand is hiding. I'll give you that. Cool. So that's the calendula. This is the second year that it's growing here, and it's its last year because we're going to need to rotate just to give the soil a break. The reason why we rotate calendula is it's a very intense plant. You can see all the little seeds or the little flowers that are about to pop up. The crazy part about calendula is that it's a flower that you can harvest for like 2 months. And we've already harvested it twice this year. And we're starting to harvest. The last harvest here was Thursday. Today's Sunday. And this is what's now ready to be picked. So what I'm saying here is that this 500 square foot section will yield between 10 to 12 harvests of flowers, and it's enough. We actually stop when it freezes because we have enough, you know. Now keep in mind this is for tinctures, right? So we need not that much, but it's a very abundant flower, and because it creates so much flower, we need to move it. We need to move its location because it actually is demanding on the ground. So. So, you know, we're picking just to show you a bit the drying process, and Francois will require between 3 to 4 hours to pick this patch, and he'll do it twice a week. We're in about a week or two, we're gonna really get the peak of calendula, where you'll see double the amount of flowers in the same amount of time. So we're gonna head to the dryers. Stacey, I'll let you take this, and then I'll let you tell our folks a story.
Okay. Here, follow me. Let's go to the dryer. Warehouse, quite a large building. It's an old building, but we've done now some restoration work to it. So when we harvest, we'll bring them in here. And we just here we have our dryers.
So this is the result of our French live Facebook and Instagram, and so combined. This is a bilingual then result.
There you
of
go.
both sessions.
Like our relationship.
But like Canada.
Like Canada.
But
yes.
and the US too, right? With the Spanish, this is great. We love diversity. We've got these racks are actually a screen that are I should say squeezed in these structures, wind structures, and it's important that air travels top and down. It will stay in here. Now, we brought the racks out so you can see them, but usually they're in an airtight environment with a dehumidifier and a fan, so we need dryness and air movement to dry. To give you an idea, this was picked on Monday, okay? So, and it's been out, so it hasn't been optimal drying, just so we could show you, but you can tell it's already, if you want to bring me a brand new one.
Yeah.
See the difference? Right, in a few days it will really dry, and then this was picked on Thursday, so it's still far from being ready, but you could tell like we want to keep the flowers and the plants in the dark so that the light and the sun do not take away the color, and of course in a very dry place. So when we do a full in a couple weeks, François will do a harvesting fill one of these with the calendula, and
so and this is a sage that has been harvested a few days ago. You can tell, so you hear the crunchiness of it. It's almost complete, and then we'll pack it away and store it until we're ready to do a maceration.
What is really hard for us right now is not be able to share the scent of these plants with you. It's obviously not possible to do through a camera, but sage is extremely aromatic. Calendula is also, but calendula is very sticky, it's very oily. Sage is just very aromatic. And so we wanted to just show you a project that we've been working on for a couple of years, and this is apple cider vinegar. It comes from the trees on the farm. Like I said, you saw a few trees early on, but there's about 200 trees at the end. Certified organic apples, and we're looking at maybe creating some products out of apple cider vinegar from here. And so I'll show you the mother, which is the bacteria, I guess, or the living mechanism or organism that transforms alcohol into vinegar. And you may ask, well, where do you get your cider from? Well, that's a very good question. I have the privilege of having a brother. We have the privilege of having a brother and a brother-in-law that started 3 years ago a artisanal farmer's cider. And so he actually makes cider for us, and then we scrap his cider into vinegar. I know it's kind of odd, but he understands what we're doing. So it's that synergy. The cider is called Cider Chouanière, our last name, and he's a very passionate guy, fun to work with, and we're actually sharing the space. And what I want to say is that what you're seeing right now is you're seeing the drying racks, which is just a small part of of the whole operation, but because of today's limitations of time, we're not showing you the transformation which is happening in the village at the office, which will be happening here next year. Stacey has said enough is enough. We don't have enough room in the village, and this belongs to the farm, so we're going to bring back the transformation here at the warehouse. We're not showing you because it's a mess in there. I know it's an easy way out, but And then we just wanted to come through here because this space is usually where we host the events and people, you know, chit chat. And then you would actually walk out here, and then on the right, that's where you would have the shampoo chair, where you can have an outdoor shampoo looking at that. So it's a teaser, yes, I know, but we would love to have you next year. And I think we're good it's time for questions. And I'm sorry we're going fast, and we're keeping it very general, and but it's, you know, it's the desire to bring you guys to the farm, since this year we're not able to host the event. So there you go. So we can probably answer some questions. There's one thing I wanted to address right away, because it's a question we received. People say, well, where's your shampoo made? How is it made, etc. Just to clarify what Oneca does, we own a farm where we grow certain plants, Calendula, sage, burdock, dandelion, nettle, horsetail. The other plants we actually buy for the tinctures. They're certified organic. We make the tinctures, but we buy the other plants like rosemary, golden seal, Angelica.
Until we are able to, because it's 2 years before you can harvest the plants, so we need a period of 2 years before our plants are strong again to harvest. So.
And I think it's worth. Do you want to share the story about Angelica?
Oh, okay, sorry. Yes, so the Angelica plants were thriving. They were doing well. They had their spot, and there was a miscommunication, and the gentleman or the team of
grass keepers.
Yes, grass keepers. They cut down the Angelica. They weed whacked it down. So that's why I say that we don't have any currently, because it was weed whacked down, but
it was an accident. We thought it was a weed.
Yeah.
So we grow certain plants, buy others for the tinctures. We buy 100% of the essential oils that we use. Some are certified organic, some are not. It depends on price, availability, which is being transparent here. And we don't know if we'll ever be able to grow plants for the purpose of essential oils. As you can imagine, it requires a massive amount. We do have hopes maybe for lemon balm, and it smells so amazing. We'll have to see, but we do buy 100% of our essential oils. Now, in terms of fabrication, the manufacturing, you know, where's your lab, where's this, where's that? We do not own a manufacturing lab. We subcontract it out. We have partners that are specialized and experts at that. We have not developed that expertise. It's important for us to share because, you know, just to understand who we are. And eventually we may manufacture, but for the moment we do not have the ability, nor the resources, nor the time, nor the desire really to do that. So that's where we're at with just a global picture. What do we have for questions?
What does the future hold for you? What are your projects?
You want to say it louder? So people, what does the future hold for
Yeah.
us? Where to go with that question?
We don't have enough time. For products, one of Oneca's philosophy is that we believe in releasing products that are needed, that there's a need for a consumer. We don't believe in just releasing more products, just to release more products. We'd like to fulfill it with a meaning and a desire. So we have a few products that will be released soon. And if you have requests or recommendations, feel free to share them with us. We'd love to know what you feel is missing in the market in the body care line.
Yeah, for me, what the future holds is more of the same, meaning that for us, we believe in evolution and expansion. We don't believe in growth for the sake of growth, just because we want to grow, right? But we believe in evolution. Nature evolves, like a tree grows, and when it stops growing, it dies, right? So we believe in evolution, growing, but in a healthy way. And we also understand that we have quality standards that we're not able or willing to jeopardize. So whatever is launched or in the future, it will be launched with the same standards. But mostly we want to keep and improve the quality that we provide right now. And we also understand that what's particular with Oneca is the performance. Yes, it works, but it's mostly what we would like to think is distinctive is the experience that people feel with their products. We design aromas that are there to invite well-being, or to encourage well-being, or invite the connection to self. I mean, let's face it, we're in the shower with you guys, not we as in person, but the products, right? So, and it's a very vulnerable place. It's a very, it's a moment for oneself, right? And so if we're able to open the door for well-being, or you know, a moment of an intimate moment with self, right? Of well-being and self-care, well, there you go, right? So the future holds more of that, because we know that that's what we're here for, and we're excited about that.
How many acres does the farm have?
The farm is 175 acres. We've been playing in, well, today together we were on probably 4 or 5 acres of it. There's a lot of forest. Half of it is forest, and there's probably, I would say, 45 acres of wild fields. And there's a part that's even wilder. It's always fun, right? But where we have left bushes growing, and that's the natural steps, right? If you leave a field, eventually it'll become a forest. You'll go back to a forest. So we're managing that, but yeah, 175 acres, 74. Sorry.
Will there be unscented and soap?
Hand soap.
Yeah,
yes,
unscented
yes,
one.
Coming out,
Yeah.
and we just, as you guys can imagine, the COVID, and as you know, the COVID has created a lot of new challenges, and packaging is one of them. And so we had to choose. We launched the citrus and cedar hand soap, and then lavender and unscented is coming out like a couple weeks, 3 weeks. Yeah.
Do you have any plans of letting any of the wild fields transition to forests and then use woody shrubs and forest products?
Wow. That's a great question. This year, we have devoted, I would say, I think it's close to 10 acres of the former orchard that was, the orchard was, you know, pulled out, and then it had been left since we've been here in 2009, and we decided that all the brushes that were growing, we'd actually leave them there. So I see 2 questions in that question. So we've been planting trees to compensate our carbon emissions. We've been buying credits to plant trees for our carbon emissions, and yet we're pulling brushes from the field that are actually pulling carbon down. And so we decided to leave 10 acres of wild fields with its brushes that are currently about 15, 20 feet high, to go back to forest. Now, what's possible with forest, you know, there's so much possible. We have not really ventured there. I mean, one of the things that we have thought about is growing golden seal, which requires a certain type of shade. But to be transparent, eventually we'd love to get there, but we have no immediate plans. We're just excited to have devoted 10 acres of like wild fields to become forest again, so we can pull carbon down and have like a massive biodiversity.
How do you choose which plants and flowers will be grown each year?
Well, first, when Phil and I started the company, we created the herbal blend with the intention of using plants that are native or indigenous to the area. And so that has been always at the forefront of what we decided to plant at the farm.
Just to remind people, maybe I have a question, somebody who wants to know where the farm is located.
Oh.
Yeah, we're in a beautiful village called Frelighsburg. It's hard to pronounce, it's hard to spell. It's in the eastern townships where, I think I mentioned it, but the farm here is bordering Vermont and bordering the US. We're near Sutton, Dunham, and we're an hour 15 from Montreal, an hour 15 from Burlington, Vermont. hour and a half from Sherbrooke, 3 hours from Ottawa, just to give perspective. And the area here is the beginning of the Green Mountains in Vermont, so that's why we actually see Montreal from here, and because it's flat to Montreal. But there's quite a bit of there's vineyards, there's apple orchards, there's a lot of farmland for market gardeners. It's a famous area for this, organic market gardeners, and I think there's a couple farms like us, doing medicinal herbs, but it's worth a visit, and hopefully next year everything, when I say everything's back to normal, it's not what I mean. Things have evolved, and we can host again.
And Frelighsburg is unique. There's not another Frelighsburg in the world. The word Frelighsburg.
Yeah.
Closing words?
Closing words? I thank you so much for being with us today on a Sunday morning. Family from family.
Or hopefully with family.
With family. True. Excuse me. So thank you. Appreciate you having us today.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for your support. We are extremely grateful for our team, our customers. This has been a journey for us. This is a journey for us, and we're very grateful for the support that we've been receiving for the last 12 years, and we've made a lot of mistakes and learned a lot, and we did some silly branding changes early on, and people have supported us through that, so we're super grateful, and we want to send our love and our support in this challenging time. We know that some people are really challenged by it, health-wise, financially, emotionally, etc. And we are extremely privileged with where we live and have a busy business, and we just want to really convey our wishes that everything goes well for you, and we actually have amazing hopes for the future. We feel that all as challenging as this is, that we've got such an opportunity, we as individuals and as a company, as a society, to materialize such needed changes. And this is with love and consideration for those who are really struggling through, because not everybody has the privilege that we have. We know that, but we hope that you enjoy the rest of the summer. We hope that this was fun and insightful for you. I know we were really overview and on the surface. We'd love to hear what